Mike.
Hey, man. How you doing?
So nice to meet you, man.
Thanks
I'm
for
so
having me
glad
up.
you're here. My pleasure, man. I can't wait.
All right.
You ready to do this?
Fix me up,
All
man.
right, let's do it.
Make me look good.
I'll try. Hey guys, welcome back to BigWave. Joe's back. I'm so happy to have my next guest here. He's a very funny man. He's been doing stand-up and comedy for decades. He's the host of Live from Your Mother's Basement, a very popular podcast. And he's going to be the first Paisan president who's going to make America Italian again, Mr. Mike Marino.
I love it, man. Thank you very much. I love being here. This is great. We didn't even start, and I want to move in. It's the place to be. And that's the first time somebody called me the first Paisan president.
That's right.
First Italian president.
Well,
I like Paisan. That's cool.
Who else would make America Italian again except the Paisan president?
That's right. Why would somebody from another culture make America Italian again? You got to be born and bred Italian, and away we go. And it's going to happen. And then from now on, instead of getting my hair cut at the White House, I'll come here.
And I'm going to be his personal Paisan barber.
Paisan barber. If I don't get a good shave, I don't make it home.
Well, I can't wait to chop it up. I'm a big fan of your work.
Thanks, man.
But first and foremost, what are we doing with the haircut?
You know what? I just need a little bit of a dusting. I was told there's a such thing as a dusting, which is smaller than a trim.
We like to call it a shape up.
A shape up, shape me up.
Right. Now, a lot of people actually will pick a shape up and expect a whole haircut. It's a very big problem in the barbering industry. But, you know, you're going to just be getting, you know, a shape up, and you're not paying for this anyway, so what's the difference,
Nice
right?
little complimentary. Yeah, just a little shape would be nice. I'm going to be taping a new show next week, so while I'm on television, you could say, Marino's hair looks perfect because you did it.
We got to keep you looking respectable.
Respectable.
So when is the next gig? When's the next local gig?
Well, this particular taping that I'm doing in California is my 5th appearance on Comics Unleashed by Byron Allen, which I'm happy to be part of the show. The first time I went on the show was about maybe 10 years ago. We hit 15 million views worldwide, catapulting me into a nice, beautiful comedy tour. So I'm looking forward to hopefully hitting those numbers again. All brand new jokes, all brand new ideas, log lines and stuff. And while I'm here in New Jersey, when I come back to New Jersey, my next big concert's going to be at the Celebrity Theater, which is inside the Claridge in Atlantic City. Or maybe I'll come back and get another haircut.
Well, I'd love to have you back on here.
That'd be cool. It's like I almost want to go into a panic. Can I really talk while I'm getting my hair cut?
As long as you don't move, I don't care what you do. That's what I tell everybody.
You know what's really wild, if I could actually indulge, but when I was in my 20s, I had an 8-inch ponytail and the thickest, longest blonde hair.
I was so scared that you were going to say something else. I'm glad you said ponytail.
Yeah, I had the ponytail. I was ahead of my time. I didn't have, would you think I was going to say I had a man bun?
No. When you said 8-inch, I was like, where's this going?
Oh, yeah, no. I'm 10 inches. What are you, nuts?
See, I opened up a can of worms.
I'm 8 inches wide, 10 inches long. I'm Italian. I go in there, I stay there.
That actually reminds me of a lot of the skits that you did back in the day with Leno, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
How did you come from being a local comic to getting on the Tonight Show with Leno?
I moved to Los Angeles when I was about maybe 23 years old, but I had grown up in New York doing TV commercials. So I grew up doing apple pie commercials, potato chips, gum, stuff like that, because I had blonde hair, blue eyes. It was the all-American boy, and at that time, man, you make a commercial. You've been making a commercial on a Monday, you were rich on Friday. It was the good old days. And then when I went to California, since I had the blonde hair and the blue eyes with a New Jersey attitude, people started saying to me, you should try your luck at doing some stand-up. And I fought it. I did not want to be a comedian. I wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
But you know what? In show business, man, you got to take every angle you can, because you never know what the next success is going to be. And that was at a time where there was no such thing as social media. So a friend of mine had a hookup at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and he said, why don't you go down there and meet Mitzi Shore and see if she'll like what you're doing. So I auditioned, and I didn't pass, and the lady said to me, stop doing impersonations, it's not funny. Then I had another shot, and I went down there again, and she said, it's really not funny what you're doing. And I said, listen, lady, I really don't even want to live in Los Angeles. I hate it here. Can't get a good slice of pizza. There's traffic all the time. And this is a bunch of bullshit. And I go, I came out here because I wanted to be in a mob movie. I just filmed 2 of them. And I was the Irish cop that got whacked in the first 60 seconds. This is bullshit. And she goes, that's your routine. And I got passed. That's how that whole thing started. It's crazy.
So it all stemmed from a role that you took that really you didn't want, but it turned out to work in your favor.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
It's funny how we find our strong points with something that...
it's an accident.
Yeah.
When I was doing stand-up at the Comedy Store, one of the talent coordinators from The Tonight Show was watching, and he said, why don't you come down and start doing some sketches on The Tonight Show? And I says, I really just wanted to do stand-up on The Tonight Show. So he says, well, I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who casts the sketches, but I think you'd make a great actor on the show, so why don't you try it out? So I went down there and I did the skit, then another one, then another one. Before you know it, I was on the show for 10 years.
Did you do like the actual like skit rehearsals with Jay Leno?
Oh yeah,
Like
we became buddies.
Okay, so like he was involved in that whole process to see if you guys had chemistry together.
Oh, not only that, he would tell the casting director, make sure Mike comes.
Okay. It looked like you guys, like just watching it from the television, you know, like perspective of the viewer, that you guys like kind of were buddied around a lot, like off camera.
Well, eventually you have to have some chemistry with the people because when you do one of those skits and it's live, if it doesn't go right, you got to have some kind of a relationship with the other people, or like me and Jay, so that we can actually look at each other as if to say, yeah, that bomb, do something else. Let's pick it up. Let's make it better. And we did. And I ended up being friends with Jay. I ended up being his opening act a bunch of times. And I see him every now and again. I miss those days. It was a lot of fun.
You guys had a really good chemistry. It was really funny. I love the one when you're sitting in the audience and you typically pose as like an audience member where people didn't know that you were in on it right away, obviously. And there was this one where like you had said like I want a big chested blonde to come out, a big chested blonde model. And then Jay Leno was like, oh really? You know, like kind of like, you know, be careful what you wish for. And out walks Fabio.
Yeah.
And you had Fabio on your lap, and you're like, you know, the look of disappointment was just so priceless.
Well, here's the inside story, right? He messed up his line, Jay. If you watch the clip, he goes, would that make you happy? Would you be happy?
Yeah.
What did you say you wanted? And I go,
and he said a big breasted.
He said breasted.
I caught that. And then you corrected him and said a big chested. Yeah.
Otherwise, the joke wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he did have pretty big pecs. You can consider those like man breasts, maybe.
I don't know if you're familiar with Fabio, but he was really famous at that time.
Oh yeah.
He was doing
this was in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Like early 90s, maybe.
He was doing those butter commercials.
I remember.
And then he was on. He wrote a book, or he was on the cover of the books. Yeah, it was some kind of butter.
Was it? I can't believe it's not butter.
I think so. I think so.
Can anybody fact check that? Maybe we'll fact check it after.
Isn't that wild?
I mean, he was.
And you, funny enough, that there was a rehearsal. You rehearse and there's no audience there, and then later on, when the audience is sitting there, they actually walk out into the audience, and whoever's sitting where I'm going to sit gets removed.
Right.
And they really don't even know why.
Right.
The audience
like,
doesn't even know why.
Maybe it's like a camera angle issue or something. They have no idea.
And then they'll put the plant, let's say this time it was me, in the chair, and they go to a commercial break.
Right.
And when you come back, people looking at me like, why is he here? And so they feel, oh, wait a minute, that's one of those guys. So they try to get close to you so they can get on TV. Isn't that hilarious?
Now, a lot of your stand-up stuff, you know, I enjoyed your whole, you know, the way that you go about bringing your childhood, growing up, you know, in an Italian household in New Jersey, and that's kind of like the forefront of the core of your comedy. And I feel like it's a lot of material that people can relate to. You know, if they're from New Jersey or they grew up in an Italian household, you know, it's just stuff that like is completely relatable to them. And even if it's not, it's people that are just enjoying, you bring them into that world, And like some of the skits that were just, I could just relate to it and it's even like, you watch guys that like, Maniscalco, and like the whole thing about the Entenmann's cake and like, there's just like all these little things that you can't, like unsee from your childhood that you can completely relate to. So there was this one skit that you were talking about, like you're talking about your G.I. Joe toys playing with your siblings and, somehow you made this whole, like scenario of G.I. Giovanni, right? And the Barbie doll and you took it to a place where it became such an intricate thing, such an intricate story, and it was really brilliant. It was so funny.
Thank
to
you.
me.
That's a nice word. Brilliant. It all stems from the truth. Everything that happens to you in your world, if you regurgitate it, as a comedian, people will laugh because they'll say, "Oh my God, that happened to me," or "I used to act like that," or "My family said that."
Yep.
And you don't have to be from an Italian family. It could be from anywhere.
Yep.
I was at a garage sale, and at the garage sale, the guy was selling G.I. Joe dolls, but they were all beat up and jacked up, missing an arm and stuff. I happened to have had 3 1965 G.I. Joe dolls with the pull string.
Yep.
And since I was an immaculate little kid, they were worth a lot of money. So I just thought, wouldn't it be funny if the G.I. Joe dolls were wise guys? And I'm going to make up a scenario. So instead of G.I. Joe, he was G.I. Giovanni, and he had a crew.
Yeah, Nikki. And,
And he had a Gumara.
Yep.
Her name was Barbie doll.
Right, and she was married to Ken.
She married Ken, but she only married him because he owned the dream house, which is where she was a stripper.
And she got her Corvette, her pink Corvette.
That's right. Well, I didn't just do it as stand-up. I made a series, and I took 6 G.I. Joe dolls, some of my celebrity friends' voices, and we stuck it in the dolls. We put them in the green screen, and we made episodes.
Yep.
So you'll see like G.I. Giovanni handles the Wolverine, and they make them fight, and they have arguments. It's just stupid. I can actually do G.I. Giovanni goes to get a haircut. And bring in the dolls. Make the lips move. It's funny. It's like I'm a big kid.
How am I going to play a role on that is the question.
You could be the guy they go see to get a haircut. Straighten me out. I got a date with Barbie doll tonight. My sister Skip is coming. I want to look twice as nice. Stuff like that. I got a weird brain. You're lucky I didn't smoke a joint before I came here.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to be a comic, right?
Sometimes.
You got to be off your rocker.
You got to be off your rocker. You got to own a rocker. I actually own my grandmother's rocker. I got antiques in my house. And that's why when you were talking about the barbershop chair, I was thinking I would like to have one. Like an old one from back in the day.
The vintage barber chairs, dude, they go for huge money now. I mean, even like these are Belmont chairs that are like, recreated from the old days, but they're a very high quality chair. I mean, they're thousands of dollars per chair and up. And the old ones can, even in decent shape, can go for big money. They're definitely sought after. And then you could buy a $300 barber chair from Amazon. But the legit ones they'll cost you, especially if you have to fill an entire barbershop with them. It's like buying a car at that point. It's a big investment.
Here's a trivia question for you that I'd like to know the answer to. When I was a little kid, your first haircut you got at a barbershop. Mm-hmm. The barber cut your hair.
Yep.
You cried because you were petrified.
Right.
Then you got older.
Yep.
And not everybody went to the barber. You went to the guy who was cutting hair in the back.
Right.
He was the beautician.
Yep.
So your mother said, today you're old enough. You're going to go get in the beautician.
Yep.
So there's the barber, there's a beautician.
Yep.
The guy who works at the hair salon. What is the difference?
So, all right. So barbershops obviously were a staple thing in the early days, right? Like, your father went to the barbershop, your grandfather went to the barbershop, you went to the barbershop as a little kid, you didn't sit still, you got beat, the whole thing. And then somewhere along the line, I would say in the 1980s, okay, salons started making this huge, popular movement where, you know, people wanted to go to a hairstylist, you know.
The stylist.
Yeah, it wasn't just like a, you know, a two on the sides and like a, you know, a high and tight or a flat top, or, you know, people were growing their hair out. You know, in the 80s, you had mullets and you had all these like longer hairstyles that you know, came in from the 70s to the 80s. And, you know, guys like Paul Mitchell and like these real famous stylists, they blew up the salon industry. And I would say for about 20 years, there was a point in time where barbershops really went on the decline. You know, they got a stereotype of being like an old man type of thing, not modern, you know, like somewhere where your grandpa went and you don't want to go there and you want to go somewhere modern, you know, and sit with a hairstylist or beautician, like you said. And I would say probably like turn of the millennium, you know, like early 2000s, barbering made a comeback, and it probably started somewhere in the UK where they started doing these modern barber styles. You started seeing soccer players wearing these cool fades and like, you know, like modern tapered mullets and like these, you know, this one haircut called the English boy, which became popular. And they started making like, you know, more modern decor, and barber shops made a huge comeback over the past like 10, 15 years. And it's a combination of like having like, you know, more modern equipment, more modern techniques, modern styles. Now I would say barbershops are more popular than ever. You know, like there's a barbershop everywhere. Plus you have, you know, all these like outlets for posting content and marketing and promoting yourself. So I would say like in a nutshell, that's kind of how it went, you know, where it's like barbershops were a thing, salons became a thing. Salons are still a thing, but for men, you know, there's a modern version of a barbershop that people don't feel like they're going to like some old man, you know, grandpa place.
And now there is a thing called a barbershop podcast.
Who knew, right?
I remember in the 80s when Paul Mitchell was really, really big and everybody was wearing ooey pooey.
Yep. Yeah, and it really blew up the salon industry big time.
It smelled so good. It had a green top and a white bottle. I remember.
Also, too, think about like older aging barbers in the 80s, right? Do you think that they were going to do those like mullets and like all these like fancy scissor type of cuts? These guys were they were just banging out cuts, like, you know, 2 on the side, trim the top, 2 on the side, trim the top. You know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you were in and out of there.
Remember the bowl cut? They put a bowl on your head.
I had the bowl cut. I had the rat tail. One of my clients said something about like, oh, like this is like the worst generational haircut in history, talking about his son's haircut. Like,
do you do women's hair?
No, I don't. My wife does. Yeah, I just barber.
I took over the podcast. Do you do women's hair?
Yeah. I'm supposed to be interviewing you.
Yes.
So he was saying like, oh, like my son's haircut's like the worst generational haircut in history. This is a guy like close to my age, and I'm like, dude, I hear you. Like, I know you hate this haircut. No one hates this haircut more than me. I've been doing it for like 5 years now on every kid that's walked into the door. Like, I'm sick of it more than anybody. I was like, but let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Because you're in my age group. Let's go back to like late 80s, early 90s. Do you remember the shit that we used to do to our hair? Like the styles, the bowl cuts, the mushrooms, the mullets, you know, I mean, we wore some really funky crap. Like, this is definitely not the worst generational haircut in history. And he's like, all right, fair enough, you're right. I'm like, let them have their thing. We had our thing, our parents hated it.
Here's a trivia question for you too. Now in the 80s, me and my friends all were kind of like on the Guido side.
Yep.
Although we had blonde hair and blue eyes, we still liked to go dancing and whatnot. So I wore a DA in the back.
Yep.
What's that?
A DA is kind of like a pointy little like rat tail type of thing.
Right.
It actually did make a comeback. There is a DA haircut now.
I would like that now.
Yeah, there is a DA haircut where it comes to a point and it's called a burst fade, and then it comes to a point, a DA point in the back.
Oh, burst fade me. DA when we were younger was supposedly the initials for duck's ass.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Give me the duck's ass.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Yep. Then you tried the longest time to comb it into a duck's ass, and all of a sudden it was just an ass.
A DA to make you look like a duck's
no
ass.
duck involved anymore. Oh man, I remember used to gel the crap out of my hair, and then there was a time where they said the wet head is dead, and everybody was blow drying their hair.
Yep. Most of the modern hairstyling products are typically matte finish now, even the strong ones.
Yeah, I never even knew the word matte finish.
Yep.
But another popular gel was studio gel.
Yep. I still have it. I keep it on hand. I may not use it a lot, but sometimes you gotta just put some friggin' gel in there, man. It's like nothing else will work on certain people's hair, and you gotta gel it down, or
Studio gel is the greatest gel. It's thick. It holds your hair down.
Remember L'Oreal?
Of course. Is she still around? I used to date her sister. I dated his sister, Lancome. They owe us money. That was a great plug.
That was a good job. Yeah.
Studio gel. It would keep anything shut. Keep your mouth shut too.
Sideburns, you want them like halfway up?
No, keep them
Where
at
they
the
are?
same level.
Same length? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Please.
Yep, I got you. So, what's your opinion on now you're a, don't take this the wrong way, but an old school comic, okay, in a modern comedic environment. Obviously, like satire now is kind of hard to navigate because of the current climate. What's it like out there? Like you seem to me like an old school satire guy. I love the satire too. I think it was obviously it had its issues, but I think it was just fun times. So like, who's your standout guy? Like, who, when you were a kid, who were the guys that influenced you the most?
Oh, well, Rodney Dangerfield, Andrew Dice Clay, Howie Mandel was great back in the day too when he was doing this. But there's a lot of comedians, a lot of people never even heard of.
Yep.
But then again, there's Pat Cooper, who's like, I
Right.
would say, the original Italian great comedian.
Yep. What about the
Richard
Rat Pack?
Jenny. Of course, the Rat
guys.
Pack.
Do you think they changed the game, like incorporating that into like music entertainment?
Sometimes it makes a comeback because luckily enough, I've been opening for a lot of big singers.
Yeah.
I just opened for Frankie Avalon.
Mm-hmm.
I work with Dean Martin's daughter, Dina.
Mm-hmm.
And that's today's generation Rat Pack. There's a lot of guys doing Sinatra.
Yep.
I played Carnegie Hall this past Christmas with, oh geez, his name's going to escape me, but he's the best Tony Bennett impersonator, the best Frank Sinatra impersonator. And he met me doing stand-up, and he said, come on, we're going to Carnegie Hall. And away we went. So it does look like the Rat Pack all over again. And there are teenagers and kids in their 20s.
I was just going to ask you that. Like, what's the audience look like? Is it mostly older people? Is it a mix?
Mostly older, but there is a mix. And
Yeah.
since I've been also entertaining on cruise ships, the audience is international.
I love
You get
cruise
people coming in, they don't even speak English.
Yeah. I think you got to be super, super talented to be one of those cruise ship comedians, because like the last time I went on a cruise, we saw a comic that, did a daytime show. It was a very, very family friendly show, and it was great. It was funny. It was like kind of Cosby style, where it was like, it was like for all ages, and he didn't have to be raunchy to be funny. And then when he was done, they said, like, I forgot his name, but they said, it's going to be back tonight, 10 p.m. for the adult show.
Yeah.
Don't bring the kids. And like, this guy was so family friendly, but it was really funny, but he was so family friendly. I'm like, I can't even imagine what this guy's going to do tonight, And we show up and we get there. Within the first 5 minutes, this guy is just going
filthy.
off. Like, it was like a different person. He was ragging on people in the front. He was making fun of them. He was being really raunchy. And I'm like, like this guy is so talented. Like, the fact that he could just change gears like that, and like, just be,
Yeah, that's what we do.
yeah, be family
In the
friendly
afternoon,
one
it's a-
show, and the next show he's just like it's like the raunchiest thing possible. And I'm like, this is real talent. This is amazing.
I do a ship every month, and yeah, be 1,000 people. You got to be G-rated.
Right.
Then they tell you come back at 11 o'clock at night.
And
They
it's
warn the
game on.
audience, and you do
Yep.
whatever you want.
Yeah. Now, I love the skits about, like the first, Italian paisan president, as I called it, and what you think would happen, if like one of these, like, these Italian dudes became the president. You know, like
when we were filming the series, Make America Italian Again, we had 10 cast members. They were all stand-ups. So during the day, we would film the jokes, and at night, we all performed together.
Yep.
A lot of that stuff was filmed in Las Vegas. And it was easy, it was fun.
Yep.
We made great money, we had huge sponsors.
Yep.
And then the
And you
pandemic
pushed the
hit.
envelope a little bit too. You know, you got a little, you know, PC. You.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say crossed the line, but you definitely skated over it a little bit. You know, and people still embraced it and they liked it, and you know, and I think that's cool that you know you're not afraid to go out there and be you. And like you said, like if you're not you and you're not telling the truth, then it's not believable, and it's not funny. You know, and that's what it boils down to.
I'm so petrified if I move, he's gonna cut off an ear.
Nah, you're good. I do this all day. I got people swinging their friggin' head around like you know, like it's on a bobble.
Well, if I can share this with you, one night I was entertaining with this guy Michael Martucci, and he does this Frank Sinatra show. In the show is 3 cast members from The Sopranos, and they do a Q&A.
Right.
I host the show, I take the questions, I ask the cast, and I get to be friends with all these guys. But at the end of the night, there was a guy, oh geez, what's his name? But he has a book out, and it's called Hairman of the Board, and he's the guy who cut Frank Sinatra's hair his whole career.
Interesting. I could see Sinatra having like his own barber and stuff.
Oh, well, I had him on my podcast, and he's pushing 80. He talked about L'Oreal. He talked about how Aquanet first came out and how he got to cut Frank Sinatra's hair, and Frank's got like 10 wigs, and he would change them daily.
I was gonna say, all right, so I didn't even know that, but I was gonna say like Sinatra like literally never changed his hairstyle over like 50
He had
years.
wigs, and this guy would put on his
It
wigs.
was like, can you imagine being Sinatra's barber for 40 years, and literally giving him the same thing over and over? Talk about monotony, right?
He even talked about how he would dye them.
Yeah, it's.
Why can't I think of this poor guy's name? He was so
you'll
great.
remember
What
it later.
stories? Hairman of the Board. He's got a book out. You'll have a book out
I
someday.
want to see it now. Well, if I know the name of the book, I'll check it out.
I remember quite some time, I think it was 2006, I did my first big special. And you were mentioning Artie Pasquale. Well, Artie Pasquale was at the show, but he was with Danny Aiello at the time. And Danny Aiello was with his wife, and they sat next to my mother and father. And I remember Artie coming over to me, and he said, Danny Aiello's here, and he wants to say hello to you. I'm like, oh my God. And he said, you're a phenomenal comedian. I just stared at him. I couldn't even find any words. I'm like, this is Danny Aiello.
From what I've heard about Danny Aiello, he wasn't really like the type of guy to throw out compliments a lot, right?
He was the nicest person.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was always very nice to me.
Yeah. No, not that I didn't hear he was nice. I just heard that he wasn't very talkative. He was kind of quiet to himself when he was off camera, but I never met the man, so I don't know.
Good times.
You know, you mentioned Dangerfield. I love Dangerfield. The bits of him when he was like on the old school Carson show, where he would just come out and he would just start his skit with a one-liner, and he would just go one-liner after one-liner after one-liner for like 20 minutes, and Carson just never stopped laughing. Like, you know, to have that ability to just make a whole long skit out of like one-liners and changing gears every 10-20 seconds like that. You know, he had obviously like, you know, his own special thing. I think the guys that pushed the envelope a lot in the beginning of that whole satire era were Pryor and George Carlin. I think those guys really pioneered pushing the envelope.
Yeah. Legendary guys.
To a mainstream audience.
Legendary. I did a bunch of shows with Andrew Dice Clay and Sebastian.
Yep.
Way back when.
And I feel like Sebastian kind of like carried the torch for Dice a little bit. Would you say that's fair?
Well, I don't know about that.
No?
They're very, very different. I mean, Dice was filthy.
Yes, I know, but I'm
Filthy.
just talking about in the terms of the Italian culture and things like that to a mainstream audience.
Well, I don't know if you know, but Andrew Dice Clay is Jewish. His last name
Is he?
His last name is Silverstein.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, when you're from
Andrew
Brooklyn,
Silverstein.
when you're from Brooklyn, Jewish and Italian doesn't matter.
Started
anyway.
look the same,
Yeah.
sound the same. Different businesses, different foods. Andrew Dice Clay. I did backup vocals on one of his albums. Me, Sebastian, and this other guy, Wheels Parisi. God, we were so young.
I liked, you know, that he kind of came back and started embracing social media. Like he would do these like you know, like a lot of like younger people don't even know who he is, and like he would like kind of like hide himself and like break people's balls and stuff and get like real reactions.
Oh, he's still killing it.
Yeah, I thought that was great. You know, that he was able to kind of come back, and now he's playing in front of bigger audiences again. And
Oh yeah. Just think, he sold out Madison Square Garden way before the word social media.
yeah.
That's almost an impossibility.
I remember having a CD, like in my CD case, you know. So I'm just putting a little bit of the sea salt spray in there. It's really like not a jelly type of product, but it does the job of just kind of keeping the hair at bay without like having to go bit. And it usually does the trick.
I like the term. I got some sea salt in my hair.
Yeah.
Keeps it at bay.
It keeps it at bay.
That's where they get the sea salt, from the bay.
Yeah. And here's the best part. I have to step off for a second because I have to get it. But you're going to enjoy this.
Coffee's good here too. When we're done, I get to go home with this. Oh wow, that feels good. Smells good too.
Yep.
Ah.
We like to pamper and take care of everybody here. Make you feel nice and fresh and clean leaving.
Oh,
it's not
smells
just about
good.
the cut, it's about the experience.
Nice and hot.
All right, we're all done. I'm going to show you. I'm going to flip you around. What do you think?
Fantastic.
Respectable?
Very respectable. Lots of respect. Thank you.
You got it.
Appreciate it.
Guys, thanks so much for being here. I had a great time talking to Mike. Make America Italian again, right? Hopefully one of these days.
You'll come cut hair at the White House.
Exactly.
We're going to move the White House to Jersey anyway.
Later, guys.